left us stunned. There was something stunning about it as it was, like watching a train wreck. Yes, it was stunning, although this is but a feeble attempt to express my full meaning. The grounds on the property I mentioned were patchy, crusted with brown and old faded red, and now the deep grooves of heavy boots. The ASPCA had taken a back seat, and the officers were working with SWAT.
Delta Team, 2-3 backup requested with full riot gear. Situation is 1034. Copy that, Delta Team. 7-7 in about 5 minutes.
The house was certainly not what it was now. It was an old, irregular thing. It was small and quaint, but there were no ends to its windings, to its incomprehensible subdivisions. Apparently, Wilson's final rebellion was a maze built inside his home. He had years while we peered at the unassuming geriatric next door, unaware that a gnarled and twisted creature resided amongst us. There we all were, with a front row seat. Wilson had not bothered to respond. A low, too quiet, keening sort of wail had reached them, and they knew somewhere deep down this was more than just about a dog. They summoned reinforcements faster than we could blink. The house was surrounded quickly, then they broke the door down. The entry hall darted into a series of subdivisions, but the main vein itself went straight to the back of the house. At the end, there was a window. Moore was 100% certain it was the back second floor window. He halted in flabbergasted as he stared at the branches of the old sycamore in the backyard. The rest of the troops dispersed before he knew it. Teams were in the kitchen, living room, and dining room. It became clear to all of them it was difficult to say with absolute certainty which story one was on at any given time. Each room had stairs or some sort of incline. The lateral portions of the house were intertwined in incomprehensible fashion. They found themselves in chaos. Shouts for Wilson rang out. They demanded he showed himself. Moore recounted in his police report that some of the doors of the structure simply led to walls, hidden nooks, shrinking hallways, to nowhere, and some would have you walk right off the second floor into midair. The team reconstructed and dispersed in waves throughout the house rather than in teams. In the garage, a pool of dried blood laid with webs and splatters surrounding it. Jackson Pollock would be proud and horrified. A howl rose from pits unknown, and new chants began. Moore was certain now. This wasn't a dog's wailing. This was about more than a dog. He was sure of it. They encouraged the voice, begging, asking where they were, encouraging them to make more noise. Shortly after, a hellish howl reached them. Pinpricks of sweat bloomed on Moore's forehead, and his stomach lurched violently at the desperate sound. A steady rapping sound commenced and increased in frequency. Then finally, a door to what was an assumed pantry in the kitchen opened as the rapping ceased with a thud. Behind the slowly opening door was Becca's body. Blood and fur matted her coat. The stillness with which her body laid belied a truthful conclusion that the dog was dead. There was an odd stiffness to the body, and its overall appearance was odder still. A team tackled going upstairs immediately. Moore approached the body, noting the odd stiffness in the leg. The first officer to double over and lose his lunch was also the first to break the news. "Oh, fuck! The dog! It's taxidermy." When one happened to stare at the abdomen of the dog, one would see why the officer had come to that conclusion. Following a jagged scar that zigzagged and zigged, then zagged over her underbelly, one would find Becca's genitals to be male, and human at that. The coroner only confirmed what was suspected later, but it was the Benson boy, mutilated and stuffed into Becca's taxidermied body. His hands and legs had been cut with surgical precision to make the fit. They were nothing but stubs. No wonder Becca's lamentations had increased suddenly. She had been a quiet dog because she had been a dead dog. The officers who had gone upstairs stated that the room, albeit small, had 0 exits. They searched thoroughly for nooks, hidden entrances, and they never did find one. Then, they did search as thoroughly as they could in that haphazard maze. A rookie of theirs made an exciting find. Beneath an old rug, an old floorboard had yielded enough, and she had grown curious. Beneath the floorboard, they found a trapdoor attached to its maw or rungs of a rope ladder. They had gone down one at a time, careful, as Wilson's location had yet to be unveiled. Beneath the boards was a singular room, cold, dark, and dry. In the center was a marble slab with the dried out corpse of what would later be revealed to be Mrs. Wilson. Skin barely clung to the remnants of the decaying body. It was apparent upon further assessment that a litany of surgical tools were embedded in a chest cavity that had been cracked and snapped open at the sternum. Jars beside the marble slab had been filled with entrails and God knows what else. Moore's revulsion roiled around in his stomach like an ocean beneath a stormy sky. Just as the waves crashed to the shore, he felt the contents of his stomach force their way up. When he took a look at the chest cavity, it was empty. Space had been purposefully carved out. Enough space, it looked, to fit a small child. "So they never found Wilson?" Diane asked. "No, unfortunately, though the house had been surrounded for hours, days afterwards, too. There were search parties and forensics. He never emerged. I suspect he ended it in there. Moore thought it too. He lost his family, then his sanity, and then he lost his family." Diane grimaced. The distorted version of them he created as well. As always, we appreciate the support, and we hope you're having a wonderful day.